Alright guys, welcome back to another TinkerCad tutorial. Today we're going to use the Align tool. So it shouldn't be too long of a video. And then more specifically, I make these for my class. I'm going to give them a particular assignment. You guys can practice along as well if you're not in our class. Go ahead and hit Create New Design. And as it loads into TinkerCad, like I said, we're going to work on the Align tool. The Align tool is actually right up here. It's these two little boxes, two little rectangles with a line next to it. So if that helps you remember, when you do hover your mouse over it, it will say the word Align. The keyboard shortcut is L. So what I want to show you is just grab a couple of items and put them on the work plane. For my guys, hold on, I guess I'm going to back up. For my guys, a couple of things we're going to practice. We're going to change this. This is going to be called Assignment 2. And again, if you typed in Assignment 1 the first time, or if you typed in Project 1 the first time, that word will still be there. Use that to your advantage. Click on Assignment 1. If that's all that's in there, hit the backspace out of 2. Boom, done. Alright, and then that crazy name is gone. I also want to, again, practice updating our grid. Because at times you're going to have to use inches. So again, practice makes, well, better, maybe not always perfect. So we're going to come down here to Edit, click Edit Grid, click the drop down arrow, click Inches, click Update. And again, one more time, this way you might not have to pause the video, click Edit Grid, the drop down arrow, Inches, and Update. And again, just remember this 7.87 by 7.87 is the size of this work plane, so roughly 8 by 8 inches, which again is the size of the 3D printers sitting behind me. At least that's what it's there to simulate. Hit Update Grid. All right, so 40 points down, we're on our way. So we're going to drag a couple of items onto the work plane. So I already grabbed the cylinder. And something I learned actually in a video today, so I'm going to throw this in here. You see this cylinder here? If you actually look real close at the cylinder, you notice that it's actually just a bunch of straight lines. Because that's really what a circle is. We'll learn this even in robotics when we have the robot draw a circle, when we do some vex stuff. It literally is just a series of drive straights and turns. And so that's what this is. So actually, if you click on the cylinder, and then you come over here, look what it says. It says 20 sides. So what I want to get you in the habit of doing is creating a more perfect circle. So I appreciate, oh, I closed this video already. I'll try to find it so I can give him credit where I learned it. But I appreciate, his name was Mark, I believe, on YouTube. Watched the video, and he showed that if you take this 20 sides, crank it up to 64, now take a look. You can barely even see the straight little lines. You can see them, they're right there, but I also have to super magnify. And that looks way more like a circle than that does, right? And so if we're trying to actually print something that looks like a circle, we want to make sure that we increase our cylinders from 20 sides to 64. 20 is going to be the default. We want to increase it to 64, okay? That being said, got that out of the way, I'm going to zoom back out. Remember, you can always hit the home button, takes you right back out here. And I'm just going to drag a couple shapes down onto the ground here. And I'm just going to put them all over the place. You know, just for this one, I am going to space them out a little. Because if you don't, they'll be on top of each other when we use our Align tool in just a minute. But I'll show you how that works. So, you know, I know random shapes, they're not always going to be the same, but just to practice, I'll give you this idea. But if you wanted to put these shapes in a straight line, if you wanted to stack them on top of each other, you could do that. And there's all kinds of ways to use this Align tool. But take a look. If I click up here in the upper left or in the upper right, depending upon how it is, click, and you see that red box that's dragging? Select everything inside that red box. So again, it's just a left click on the mouse, okay? Left click on the mouse. Click and drag, everything's highlighted. The Align tool now lights up here, right? So again, if I hit the L key on my keyboard, my Align grid comes up. If I click the Align tool up there, my Align grid comes up. You'll notice this one here is aligning them basically like forward to backward. This one here is aligning them from left to right. And this one here is aligning them up and down. Okay? So right now, if I click on that, you'll notice the only the only circle that's grayed out is this little one down here. That's because all 4 objects are sitting directly on the work plane, so the alignment on the bottom there is perfect because everything's sitting on the ground, right? But if I wanted to put them in a straight line, I can choose any one of these objects, right? Any one of these dots. If I choose this dot up here, it aligns them up top like that. If that's not what I wanted them further down, again, hit the undo button, hit that align tool. I can center them, and I can bring them down to this bottom dot here. Okay? If for some reason I wanted to raise them up and I wanted to line the tops of all of these, because if you notice, these two look about the same height. I don't know if this one is, but the cylinder definitely isn't. So we'll find out in a second if this pyramid is or not. If I click on that, yeah, the pyramid was fine. So they're not only now, these 3 are aligned on the bottom, because we already knew that, but now it raised the cylinder off the ground. So I could even do that. If I wanted to center them, this would align the actual center of all the objects together. And you'll notice here, again, because these 3 are the same height, they don't move, but it moves the cylinder down. In terms of 3D printing, if we wanted to print these 4 objects, they all have to be on the floor, so you'd align them or leave them alone that way. But that right there is aligning 4 objects in a straight line. Alright, now that I've got these 4 shapes all in a line, I need to show you another tool, right? So I'm going to re-highlight these here. In order, when you line something up, you generally want to keep it that way. Well, I can't keep these lined up if I don't use the second tool, or a second tool, up here in this same line. That is the group tool. So if you look right here, where this is basically a circle and a square grouped together that kind of looks like an arrow. And over here, you'll notice that there's a group and a square that are separate, and that's the ungroup. So if I leave these highlighted once I've aligned them, and click the group tool, what will happen is TinkerCad will then turn them into one object. And when it does that, you'll notice that it changes the color. And from what I remember, it changes it to the first color you dropped on the screen, which actually was the cylinder here. But I don't like that. I want my 3D model to have some color. I want it to have those options. So if I click right here on the circle shape, or the cylinder shape, that brings up my colors. See this little check mark down here that says multicolor, show all colors in the group? Put the check mark in that. There we go. And then your original colors will come back. Now here's the thing, right? Now if I grab this, I can move this whole group around. Okay? So really we're going to learn 2 different things today. We're going to learn how to align things and how to group things. Okay? So here's how this works. That's all one shape now. So we'll leave that one up there. Let's try centering an object. Actually, no. Let's do something else. Let's this summer I'm actually going to create a table, right? And so we're going to do a basic table here on TinkerCad. So grab a cylinder and drag it over. Go ahead, drop the ruler on the work plane, and resize it to 4 inches by 4 inches. And let's make it a 1/2 inch tall. 0.5. Now at this point, just drag it away from your 4 shapes, or you can drag your 4 shapes up over here. Now what we're going to do is we're going to put some legs on it, okay? So, you know, in terms of aligning, let's go ahead and drag another square over, another cube. And we're going to change that cube to 0.5 by 0.5. Length and width is 0.5, 1/2 inch by 1/2 inch, which is here and here. We'll leave the height the same as it is, with 1 inch. That way it sticks up a little bit higher here. Now, I'll get into duplicate in a different video, but for today, let's just go ahead and use these tools, Control-C, Control-V, or you can just do copy, and then we'll paste it. That way we have 4 legs. So I copied it once, I hit paste 3 times, and now I have 4 legs. Go ahead and drag your legs to the 4 corners. Okay, just drag your legs to the 4 corners. So, let's do this. We're going to align them one at a time, because you can't align all 4, right? We saw these dots, right? If I highlight these 2 things right here, and again, when you're aligning, you don't have to put it over the entire object. It literally just has to touch the 2 objects, right? So now that I did that, you'll notice that this is selected and this is selected, but these items are not. So I'm going to go ahead and hit L or hit the Align tool up here. And I want to make sure that these 2 are aligned on the right-hand side here. And then I also want to make sure, well, I got lucky there. I wanted to make sure it was aligned in the bottom corner. Now you can try to do that by eyeballing it, but if you miss and then you go to 3D print something, it's going to be off, be a little janky, right? So in this case, if I use the align tool, you'll notice I've got it aligned front to back, and I've got it aligned left to right. Now at this point, since both items are still selected, come up here and hit that group button. Boom. Now this is one object. If I try to move the table, right, the leg is attached. Now let's go ahead and do this one up here. Highlight these two. Again, you just have to touch parts of both. Hit the align tool. We want it aligned on the right. And then we want it aligned back here because right now if you rotate around you see it's sticking way off. So you want it aligned right here as well. And again, since both items are selected, hit the group button. Boom. Now if I try to move it, like, see, I've got two legs that are attached now. At this point, again, you can drag this one over if you want, highlight both of them. I'm telling you, don't try to align it manually. This is way too easy. Hit the align tool. You want to select the right hand side, and then you want to select, oh, I got lucky again, but it also has that snap grid of 1/8 of an inch, so that helps me. Hit the group tool. Last one, highlight these two. Hit the align tool. You want it aligned all the way on the right, and you want it aligned, I spun it around. Oh, I got them both here. So I've got this one here, and I've got this one here. Go ahead and hit the group tool. Take a look. We've got our table. All right. Now the table's upside down, so this is a good time to show you how to rotate something. See this little half arrow here, this little arc? If you click on that, come up here. So once I clicked on it, it kind of freezes this in time. There's your 0%. So I can literally type in 180% and it will rotate it around. I can also click on this dot here and I can start rotating. Oh, hold on, let me get it back. I can click on this. See, this is why I just like to type it in. You can click on this little line here, and then you can start rotating it, and the further your mouse is away, the finer the turn is. See how it's going one at a time? But if I come in here, it's going 22.5 at a time. So you want to make sure that your mouse is as far away as possible. And rotate that all the way around to 180. There it is. All right. Make sure it's sitting right on the ground, which there's my 0. Boom. Done. Okay. Now, for my table this summer, last part of the video. For my table this summer, I'm going to drill a hole directly in the center so I can put an umbrella in it because I want to put it on my back deck. So we're going to do a couple of things here today. And I'll show you how to make a hole later. I'll show you in a whole nother video here. But what I want to do is I want to grab this cylinder. See, the cylinder is actually a hole. All right. So the cylinder is only 1 inch tall and the table is 1 inch tall. So let's make the cylinder a little bit taller. Just make it 1.5. Okay, now it sticks out of the top of the table. Now what I want you to do is align both of those. So highlight both objects, the table and the hole. Use the align tool again and center it. Now when I say center something, you want to make sure both dots are centered. And somehow I got lucky again and I already had it centered in the middle. Now hit the group button and look what happens when you use a hole and group things. Right? It's gone. And so there I'd be able to put my umbrella in. And obviously I would use the right dimensions. But we center things a lot, right? We center things a lot when we do TinkerCad, right? We might bring 2 other objects in. I could do a sphere and I could do a cone. Are they the same height? They are the same height, so we're going to make the cone 1.5. Now, if I just grab both of these, and I use the align tool, and I can do center, and you can see group it, change it back to multicolor, boom, done. See that? So now I have 2 objects together. So for your final thing for today, I want you to grab 2 objects, right? 2 objects, doesn't matter what they are. I don't even care if you do the cone and the cylinder, or the cone and the sphere. You can grab 2 objects and I want you to perfectly center them together. So 3 things today. 4 objects in a straight line, the table with the hole in the center, and two objects perfectly centered. All right. Any questions? Obviously, shoot me a Schoology message. Any questions online? I'm sure there are tons of other videos out there even better than mine. But other than that, that's it for today. I'll see you back here next time.